Thanos, or this day will see your ruin.
Get some of this! Leave my world, Thanos!
Destroy your armor! Clear the skies! Face me, children of Asgard.
Jason's treachery against his empire has been revealed. Stealing the cosmic seed for his glory caused a galactic chain of events, which eventually ended up in a war. This is one thing, but allying himself with Thanos? Now that's a really low point. Even though he does it to protect Spartax from the treachery of Loki. But even the god of mischief knows better than to trust the mad titan. Thanos starts announcing that Spartax will be his for the taking. Then chaos ensues. The Guardians of the Galaxy, the Asgardians, and the Spartax army all fight to defend themselves. Thanos himself joins the fray and invites Thor and the others to come at him. One by one, the mad titan beats the best of the Asgardians. Even the destroyer's blast can do nothing to harm him. Victoria attempts to face him, but Thanos is too strong for her. Quill comes to her aid, as well as the Guardians. Thanos beats all of them in one fell swoop. He is about to end Quill when Jason steps up between them. He pleads with the mad titan not to harm his son. He says that only Quill can find the cosmic seed for him. Very well, Thanos says. He spares Quill's life and abducts him. He intends to destroy everything after finding the artifact. Once Thanos has left, everyone regroups to think about their next move. The Guardians have already decided to save Quill. Thor volunteers to come with them, along with Angela and the Destroyer. Jason also volunteers to come and save his son, but Victoria won't allow him. He says that if they hope to find Thanos, then he's the only one who can track him. He communicates with Thanos using a device that's coded to his DNA. Gamora considers this. In the end, she allows him on the ship, with Rocket tying him up. They open a portal to get closer to the possible location of Thanos. Then, they connect their navigation system to Jason's device. He activates it and a few moments later they get the exact location. Now they prepare for their assault. Meanwhile, Quill is suffering from the torture of the Mad Titan. The latter is forcing him to reveal the location of the cosmic seed. Quill says he doesn't know, and he can prove it if only he has the cryptocube. So Thanos gives it to him. Quill uses the map to explain that he's only following the trail of energy left behind by the artifact. And it led him to Spartax, which is a dead end. Thanos sees the trail and believes him. But he still won't let go of Quill. He will figure out a way for him to locate the seed for him. For now, he wants Quill to open the cube so he can absorb the trace energy stored inside. Quill refuses. Thanos resorts to a dirty, evil trick just to get what he wants. He puts his hostage under an illusion. When Quill opens his eyes, he sees the inside of a hospital room. Beside him is his mom, Meredith Quill. At first, he feels happy that he's safe with his mother. He tells her about his dream of being a space pirate and working along with other space creatures. Then 2 nurses come in, and then 2 physicians follow. They look awfully familiar to him. Meredith gives him a glowing cube, saying that it's the only way for her to get better. That's when Quill realizes he's in an illusion. He resists opening the cube. But seeing his mother pass away again is too much to handle, even for him. He opens the box, hoping to bring back his mother. Instead, the doctor's evil laughter fills his ears. Quill opens his eyes again. He's back to the present. He sees Thanos holding the open cube. The energy gets absorbed into him. If only a small amount of cosmic seed energy can make him this powerful, how much more if he has the artifact? That's why it's important to stop him from getting the seed. At the same time, Gamora and the others arrive at the location. They see thousands of pods littering the galactic sky. They are supposed to come nearer undetected. But Jason betrays them and destroys the ship's cloaking field. Then he escapes using a space pod. The others have no choice but to fight. Thor, Angela, and the Destroyer offer to eliminate the enemy pods, while the Guardians will rescue Quill. Thanos sees through their plan. Using his newfound strength, he aims a powerful beam at them. Thor takes it head-on, but it's too strong even for his Mjolnir. Groot takes this opportunity to sneak in and release Quill from his shackles. Thanos sees him. The poor tree gets thoroughly beaten by the Mad Titan. Next to come are Drax and Gamora. They aim to take their revenge on him. However, Thanos has become too strong after absorbing the seed's energy. Quill tells everyone his plan. They need to remove the cube from Thanos' hand and destroy it. That way, he'll lose his source of power. And there'll be no way to locate the cosmic seed. Because, frankly, all it ever does is lure greedy entities to find it. Rocket agrees and uses the ship's magnetic beam to capture the villain. Quill steals the cube and asks Thor to destroy it. But the cube is too sturdy to be destroyed by the hammer. Jason flies in and steals it. Quill flies after his father. He uses an electromagnet to open his father's pod. Then he punches him, making Jason let go of the cube. Thanos is about to reach the artifact, so Quill freezes it using his blaster. The cube may not get destroyed by ice, but it becomes too sensitive against Thanos' overpowered gauntlet. He accidentally crushes it, sending waves of leftover cosmic energy. Quill gets a sudden vision of all the places where the seed has been. Thanos is enraged that his plans have been foiled by the Guardians. With the remaining power left in him, he creates a black hole. It starts to suck in everything nearby. Just when all hope is lost, Loki appears and pushes Thanos right into the black hole. Quill follows up by sending the villain boulders. At last, Thanos gets sucked in by his own black hole. Later, Thor confronts his brother about his wrongdoing. Loki explains his reasons. Obviously, the seed is not safe in Asgard. So, he kept it where no one can locate it. He even used his own powers to make himself forget its location. Thor accepts this explanation, but he still temporarily vanishes his brother. Back in Spartax, Victoria imprisons their father for the treason committed against the Empire. Then she awards Quill as the new king of Spartax. Quill accepts, but he says Spartax is not his home. Therefore, it's only fitting that its new ruler must be someone who will truly protect it. He passes the brooch to his sister, who deserves the recognition. As they fly away, the Guardians get some rest for a while. Quill needs it the most. He goes to sleep, then wakes up after dreaming about the cosmic seed again. He sees the final location of the artifact. It's on a planet that's painfully familiar to him. But he has no way to verify this. For now, they will face new adventures as the Guardians of the Galaxy. A few days later, Gamora is stealthily running through a hallway. She intends to steal the gravity matrix from Ronan's collection. But Quill and the others have already tracked her. Aside from the fact that they are genuinely concerned for her, they also think she might betray them again. Gamora says it's far from that. Her reasons are personal. For now, they need to escape because the guards have already found them. Rocket grabs and plays with it, accidentally activating its anti-gravity field. They find themselves floating. Fortunately, they escape by targeting the gravity packs on the guards' feet. They leave, with Drax taking some gravity packs for themselves. Inside the ship, Gamora explains that she was the one who stole the gravity matrix from the planet Sunev. She is still haunted by her wrongdoings in the past, so she wants to make this right. But she also knows things will be easier if she does this mission alone. She stuns her friends and proceeds to planet Sunev. There, the citizens are not welcoming, even though she's returning their main source of planetary power. Sandstorms have affected them and their atmosphere has been thinning since the theft of the item. Before things go smoothly, Nebula appears. It turns out, she has tracked her sister and intends to return the gravity matrix to Ronan. She hits Gamora's head and abducts her. When Gamora opens her eyes, she finds herself chained up. Looking down at her are Ronan and Nebula. The Kree accuser says his usual spiel about committing sins and whatnot. Gamora expects him to do his usual cleansing. That's why it's a surprise for her to see the Grandmaster, who's supposed to do the so-called cleansing. Before she knows it, she is rising on a platform and is shown in a familiar location. She's inside the arena at the space station Conjunction. The Grandmaster has always wanted her to fight in his competition and now he's getting his chance. The rules for Gamora are the following: she'll fight 3 opponents. If she loses, she'll be destroyed, along with planet Sunev. A satellite is already on standby, waiting for the orders to shoot its deadly beam. If she wins, Sunev will be spared. Ronan will return their gravity matrix, but she will still be destroyed by him. Either way, she knows how her life will end, so she wants to make it more meaningful by doing one last good thing. Back in the Milano, the Guardians are just waking up from the stunning. They understand her reasons, but perhaps those are not enough to hit them like that. They discuss how to find her when Groot sees on the monitor a live broadcast of a fighting match at the Conjunction. And at the center of it, all is Gamora. Well, that's their location. They arrive at the space station, with the Grandmaster unaware of their presence. He's too focused on the match to notice anything. Gamora's first match is with Wraith inside an ice maze. He's the son of the scientist whom she terminated before under Ronan's order. She doesn't want to fight him, but she has to win. Eventually, she tricks him to hit the walls of the maze. She hits him and grabs his weapon. Her next opponent is Jarhead and they will fight inside a giant pool. While the second match is going on, Quill and the others sneak inside the arena. They avoid drawing attention to themselves when the guard on the gate happens to be Drax's fan. They tell Drax to entertain him while they proceed inside. Quill helps Gamora, while Rocket and Groot will go to the control room. Quill finds her struggling with her opponent, so he gives her a helping hand. The pool gets destroyed, and Gamora defeats Jarhead. Her last opponent is an elemental beast. It can adapt to any natural elements and use it as a weapon. The two are having a hard time fighting it. Suddenly, they all float. Rocket has infiltrated the control room, but Nebula finds them there. She throws Rocket onto the board, and this accidentally cancels the gravity inside the arena. Meanwhile, Drax leaves his fan outside and walks directly into Ronan. Drax slides downwards toward Ronan and sticks the gravity pack on his leg, which makes Ronan float. Then, he steals the gravity matrix and meets up with his friends. Quill and Gamora have defeated the elemental beast. They meet their friends outside of the arena. Rocket takes the artifact and activates it so that the gravity at the space station will become too heavy. Everyone, including Ronan, Nebula, and the Grandmaster, gets pulled to the ground. This also pulls in the satellite that's been aimed at Sunev. This means an imminent crash will happen. Rocket also controls the Milano to fly above them and beam them up. They leave the conjunction, with a resounding crash sending them off. At last, Gamora returns the gravity matrix to the Sunev people. She realizes that she may not be able to undo all the wrongs she's done before. But she can do more good moving forward with the help of her friends. Quill is still having visions about the cosmic seed. He can't believe that after the cube got destroyed, it would leave him with visions about the seed's location. But he needs to make sure. He decides to contact the Inhumans for some information. Of course, Quill is not Quill without him getting the Guardians through some danger. He flies the ship toward a white hole that is spitting out space junk at them. At the end of it is Black Bolt, the king of the Inhumans. They see him opening his mouth. They remember that he can destroy things using a mere whisper. Everyone braces as Black Bolt shouts. It turns out, he is only putting a force field around their ship so that the space junk won't harm them. Eventually, they see the floating city of Attilan. But their troubles are far from over. One of the junks has destroyed their wings. Quill asks Medusa for assistance in their landing. And the Queen obliges them. She orders her family to help. First to help is Crystal, her sister. She manipulates elements and creates an ice slide for the ship. Next to help are the cousins of the king, Karnak, and Gorgon. They prevent the ship from crashing through the buildings. As Quill says, the Guardians know how to make an entrance. Once they are safe, they are invited to come inside the palace. Quill gets serious as he announces his request from the king. He tells them that he's been having visions of the cosmic seed. He thinks he knows where it is, but he has to make sure. His instincts are telling him that Maximus the Mad may know about it because of what he said the last time. The further he goes, the farther away he gets. He requests an audience with him. Naturally, everyone protests. The last time Maximus was free, he tried to manipulate Black Bolt and everyone. Now, the mind-controlling device is on his head to stop him from doing any more harm to the city. But Quill pleads directly to Black Bolt. The king remembers that the Guardians saved them from the Crystal Plague. So this is simply returning the favor. He agrees to Quill meeting Maximus. But on one condition, he and his wife must be present for safety measures. However, when they get to Maximus' cell, the madman tricks them into talking to Quill alone. He makes it look like he knows where to find the cosmic seed. But he will say it only to Quill, and also if he lends him a pencil. The Guardian gives him the pencil, which is a huge mistake. Maximus uses it to jam the mind control device on his head. Now, it sends a signal to the tower outside the prison, allowing him to control everyone in the city. Instantly, the royal family attacks the Guardians. Gamora knows Quill is involved in this mess, as usual. The Guardians find out how formidable the Inhumans are as enemies. Quill comes out of the prison cell chased by Black Bolt and Medusa. He tells his friends what Maximus has done. But he wants to clarify, this is not 100% his fault. Rocket sees the tower and thinks this might be the one sending the controlling signals. He and Groot will go there to reverse the signals, while Drax and Gamora will make sure Maximus is still in prison. This leaves Quill facing all the members of the Inhuman royal family. Thankfully, Rocket reverses the signal just in time. And he blows up the tower for good measure. The royal family finally comes to their senses. However, Drax and Gamora run out of the prison cell just as it explodes. They tell everyone Maximus has escaped. As if on cue, the madman confirms it through the speakers. He's inside the royal palace and controlling one of the artilleries of the city. As he says, the cannon is powered by the Terrigen crystals underground. It was supposed to promote evolution. But now, Maximus will use it for revolution. He aims it at an unknown planet. Once that planet gets destroyed, everyone in the galaxy will know the might of the Inhumans. Immediately, the Guardians and the royal family make a plan. 2 teams are needed to deal with the situation. The cannon team, consisting of Quill, Medusa, Karnak, Groot, and Rocket, will destroy the cannon. The palace team, consisting of Black Bolt, Gamora, Drax, Crystal, and Gorgon, will stop and apprehend Maximus in the royal palace. The cannon team arrives at the artillery. They discover that there's an invisible crystal film protecting the cannon. Quill and Rocket shoot at one point to break it. This causes cracks in the ground. Groot sneaks his roots underground to destroy the device that projects the barrier. At once, Rocket looks for the manual switch, while the rest attempt to destroy it. Meanwhile, the palace team is met with drones. The Inhumans' powers don't seem to have any effect on them. So Drax and Gamora use their physical skills to destroy the machines. At once, they enter the royal court where they see Maximus controlling the cannon. He begs Black Bolt not to destroy the console, yet the king still blasts it. This turns out to be a trick. By destroying the console, the cannon is set to fire in 60 seconds. Quill, Karnak, and Groot are still inside the cannon. They only have less than a minute to destroy it. Karnak says that if the weak spot is exposed to extreme temperatures, he might be able to damage it. Quill uses his blaster to fire and then ice it. Karnak punches it until it cracks and explodes. Medusa protects them from the blast using her hair. They all see Maximus escaping using the Guardian's ship. Black Bolt and Quill sneak in to stop the madman. He plans to crash the ship into Atalan's main reactor. Quill begs Maximus not to press the rectangular button, or else the ship will self-destruct. But Maximus does it, and the mixtape plays a rock song. Black Bolt approves after he captures his brother. After the incident, Quill apologizes for his mistakes, even if it's not totally 100% his fault. Still, Medusa recognizes his humility in admitting his faults. Black Bolt approves. The Guardians leave Atalan City. When checking the navigation system, Gamora is surprised to learn that Maximus has set the course for Earth. Now this is the confirmation Quill is looking for. Because in his visions, the final location of the cosmic seed is on his home planet. At first, the Guardians are not convinced. But they do know that Quill will always follow his instincts. Even though most of the time they get in danger because of it. They decide to go to nowhere. Quill is planning to use the Continuum Cortex to go back to Earth. But when they arrive at the giant head, they have to be careful. Quill feels someone is following them. He asks Rocket to make some distractions. And the raccoon happily does it. Through the chaos, Quill sneaks in and looks for Cosmo the dog. Thankfully, he finds the animal. Since Cosmo communicates telepathically, he can read what's inside someone's mind. So he already knows what Quill wants to do. However, the Guardian doesn't know exactly where on Earth he wants to go. He believes the location is in his subconscious mind. Cosmo volunteers to dig it out for him. Back in the market streets, Gamora and the others get assaulted by the Sakarans. Landing in front of them is Korath. Quill is right, someone is following them. And Korath is almost close to apprehending him. Gamora immediately communicates with Quill to warn him of the villain's presence. She interrupts Cosmo's wandering through Quill's mind. In there he finds an old memory where the Guardian was bullied by someone named Coogan. He wants to know more, but because of Gamora's warning, Quill has to go. He picks up the dog and enters the Continuum Cortex. Quill and Cosmo arrive in the bushes. When they get out, they see that they have been transported to a quiet suburb in Missouri. Quill knows, because this is his hometown. Cosmo immediately rolls over the grass. He says it's been so long since he touched real Earth grass. But Quill feels conflicted. He remembers his mom and his childhood memories. But at the same time, those are not enough reasons to come back. However, this time is different. He's on a mission to find the cosmic seed, a mission that can potentially alter the rest of the galaxy. With that in mind, they walk on. Cosmo has to remove his spacesuit to avoid suspicions from other people. In the long years that they've been away, so many things have changed. People walk around with their smartphones, no more videotapes rental stores, and there are a lot of coffee shops in just one block. Just then, a cop apprehends them. He tells them that pets must be on a leash. Cosmo recognizes the cop as Coogan, the same bully from Quill's childhood. Coogan hears the dog's voice but thinks it's from the man. Before they can do anything, an explosion disturbs the peace in the area. Korath has managed to follow them. With no choice, Quill steals a car and drives off. Korath sees them and flies after them. Quill maneuvers the car to shake off their pursuer. But the villain is persistent. At one point, Cosmo has to use his telepathic abilities to fly their car over a small stream. Then Quill uses his blaster to shoot at Korath. They manage to escape him when he falls into the water. But it's not over. Coogan blocks their way and stuns them. When Quill wakes up, he's inside a prison while Cosmo is being sent to animal services. He pleads with the cop to let him go. But Coogan won't listen. Instead, He wants Quill to tell him what he knows about the Peter Quill he used to bully in high school. When asked why, Coogan says he just wants to make things right. So Quill reveals his true identity. But the cop just laughs it off. At that moment, Korath blasts through the wall of the police station. Quill manages to get his blaster back and freezes the villain. Cosmo comes back and helps fight him. Korath is almost onto them when the walls blast for the second time. This time, it reveals Gamora and the others. They tie up the villain inside one of the cells using duct tape. Rocket is so amazed by it. Then they all decide to go to the old Quill's farm. But they find them all there. According to Coogan, the farm was sold and developed years ago. But Quill is determined. He uses a chronoscan to see what the place looked like years before. He remembers that there used to be a shelter under his home. It may have not been destroyed by the developers. So they all go inside dressed like members of the SWAT team, except for Groot. Inside, Drax finds joy in tasting an Earth delicacy, the corn dog. Quill finds an advertisement for an iPod that can hold 10,000 songs. Although they enjoy looking at things inside the mall, Quill's scanner beeps at a spot. Rocket gives him an adjustable implosive. He puts it on the ground and makes a hole just enough for 2 persons to go through. Quill and Coogan go down and find the shelter still intact. The Guardian sees a box and thinks it has the cosmic seed. But it only contains his childhood magazines. Just then, Korath arrives along with his reinforcements. An all-out shooting happens between the Guardians and Korath. Groot joins the fray. It turns out, he's been pretending to be an overgrown ornamental plant. Coogan evacuates the citizens, then comes back to help. Peter gives him a laser gun for his protection. Unfortunately, Rocket's extra adjustable implosive has been hit. Instead of exploding, it's been set to cover a large area and compress it to the size of Rocket's paws. And they only have less than a minute left. Quill tells everyone to hold hands while he activates the transportation wristband he's wearing. Instantly, they all get transported back to nowhere. Coogan gets a glimpse of the alien world and screams before coming back to Earth. The mall is no longer there. Only a small cube is there. The citizens are all wondering what has happened, so Cosmo uses his ability to make them forget. They still haven't found the cosmic seed. Before leaving, Quill goes to an old tree where he used to play. He opens his comic book, where he finds a picture of him and his mom. Then he says, "I'm back, Mom." The Guardians of the Galaxy leave Earth. They haven't found the cosmic seed, but Quill's intuition is strongly telling him that the artifact can be found there. His friends are almost getting tired of his visions. Gamora says perhaps it's for the better that they don't find the seed. However, Quill insists, especially since he's having new visions. He sees the seed, followed by an image of a snowy mountain top and a large cavern. To convince his friends about his visions, he tells them his idea. They all know that the seed left traces of its energy in the places it's been. And one of those places is Attilan, which used to be part of the Earth. Perhaps, the seed can be found in the place where the Inhumans used to live when they were still on Earth. Drax and Gamora think there's some credence to this theory. Quill contacts Gorgon, one of the Inhumans. He asks if he can give them their previous coordinates on Earth. Gorgon obliges them and wishes them luck. Unbeknownst to them, their communications have been hijacked. Ronan and Nebula prepare to follow the Guardians on Earth. Upon entering Earth again, the Guardians encounter a turbulent snowstorm. Since the place they're going to is the Himalayas, the wings of their ship start to form ice. Quill, with the help of Groot, has to blast fire at them to melt them. Eventually, they land on a flat surface. But all that surrounds them are mountaintops covered in snow. Gamora says they better find the seed against all this coldness. In the distance, the fog clears, showing the ruins of an old temple. Using his chronoscanner, Quill scans the place. He sees that it used to be a part of the Attilan city. Growing hope that they are on the right track, they proceed to enter the ruins. As they enter, Groot slowly grows. This is a good indicator that the place is filled with the seed's residual energy. But there's another thing that happens to them. They start to have visions of their own. Groot sees an image of him holding the cosmic seed and planting it on the ground. And this results in the resurrection of his species. Next to have visions is Rocket. He sees his family evolving again using the artifact. It seems like the seed is affecting them by making them see images of life that matter to them. If this is the case, then it's no wonder why powerful entities in the galaxy are after it. Gamora remarks on the shape of the cavern. It looks unnatural, making her wonder what or who could have done it. Just then, a giant worm bursts out of the ground and attacks them. Its exterior is too hard for their knives and swords to pierce. Quill asks Groot if he can create an organic food horrible enough to cause the worm some indigestion. The tree does, and it shoots the rotting bud into the worm's mouth. But their fighting has caused the ground to become unstable. They fall into what they think is a safety net. It turns out, it's a giant network of webs. And the monstrous spider that made it attacks them. The arachnid is much stronger than the worm. One by one, they get rolled by its web. Then the spider hangs them upside down like there's some bacon about to be smoked. While they wait for their demise, Drax admits he's having visions of his family being revived by the cosmic seed. Gamora says she doesn't have any memories of her family because Thanos removed them. Drax comforts his friend and says perhaps the seed can help her retrieve her memories. Rocket and Groot also admit to having visions of their families being revived. Quill gloats about how they used to laugh at him for having visions, then it also happens to them. But they need to focus on the bigger picture for now. Groot realizes that the whole cave must be teeming with seed energy. So he extends his roots and plunges them into the ground. He gains enough strength to release himself from the web, punch the spider, and release his friends. They fight the spider again, but this time they gain an advantage. Quill uses his blaster to shoot the lava at the monster. Then he follows it up with cold air, which instantly turns it into stone. After defeating the spider, they go further into the cave. In the end, they see the lush growth of fauna surrounding a small, golden box. There's no doubt about it now. They finally found the cosmic seed. But to Quill's surprise, his friends start to fight over it. Each of them has their reasons for possessing such a powerful artifact. Perhaps the only reason Quill is not so affected is because he has no compelling reason to do so. He could have wished to revive his mom, but he didn't. Because he thinks that the seed is as dangerous as it can be beneficial, especially when it's in the wrong hands. For him, the fate of the galaxy comes first. Amidst their tussle, the box gets thrown right in front of Ronan and Nebula. The villains are grateful because they didn't have to exert effort to find the artifact. Ronan picks up the box, gets the seed, and puts it on his universal weapon. Immediately there's a surge of power around them. He makes a hole above them, and then he grows a large stem to get to his ship. The Guardians attempt to cut it, but the seed's power keeps on healing it. They have no choice but to climb. Quill sees the box and keeps it, just in case. Ronan uses his powers to make Nebula stronger. She becomes buffed and more ferocious. One by one, she pushes the Guardians out of the stem. Groot grows white puffs on his back to catch his friends. While flying, Rocket and the others are losing hope. How can they defeat Ronan now that he is the master of the seed? But Quill refuses to give up. Together they can retrieve the artifact from the villain. Ronan is ecstatic about his success. But it won't last long. Drax and Gamora fight him. Once Ronan is distracted, Rocket covers his face with duct tape. The best tape in the universe. Then, Quill uses the box to retrieve the cosmic seed. Slowly, the giant stem withers. Groot catches his friends again. Ronan and Nebula, the latter who have returned to normal, fall on the snowy ground. The Guardians gloat about their success, but perhaps a bit too early. Because just as Ronan gets up, somebody falls from the sky and right in front of them. It's Thanos. He has come to get what he thinks is rightfully his. Thanos throws Ronan into the next mountain. Then he pulls the box to him and gets the seed. Since he's more powerful than Ronan, the power surge has an insanely big difference. He can immediately control the wild roots that lie dormant in Earth's underground. And that's saying something since they're on top of the Himalayas. Thanos realizes the potential of the force of nature on this planet. Right there and then, he decides to take Earth under his control and make it his weapon. He controls the roots to trap the Guardians, then he sprouts exploding mushrooms to end them. But they are not easily destroyed. So Thanos absorbs all the cosmic seed energy into himself, making him sink a bit, and then he causes great cracks in the ground. He has forgotten the universal weapon, which is now sliding downwards. The Guardians run toward their ship. Quill picks up the universal weapon and swings it to defend themselves from the avalanche of rocks. Drax and Gamora choose to save Ronan and Nebula. Even in times of crisis, Gamora is still concerned about her sister. But Drax just wanted Ronan to perish by his hands. Quill and Rocket fly to their ship. Groot creates a bridge so they can cross the chasms made by Thanos. Ronan almost falls, but Drax still saves him. A few moments later, Groot lets go of the edges, causing all of them to fall. Luckily, the Milano catches them. Ronan uses his weapon to power up the ship and escape from the roots that are trying to pull them down. Gamora says they can't retrieve the seed as long as Thanos stays in contact with the ground. Quill asks Ronan to power up their magnetic beam. Then he uses it to pull the Mad Titan out of the ground like a weed and swing him around toward the asteroids. But as Nebula says, they are underestimating her father. Thanos resists the beam, eventually falling back down to Earth. Of all places to fall into, he falls in Central Park in New York City. That place is always the favorite for mass destruction and alien invasion. The Guardians and Ronan discuss what they must do. Naturally, Quill and the others want to stop the Titan from conquering Earth. Ronan has other ideas, though. He wants to destroy Thanos and the Earth to stop spreading the contamination. He offers the quantum bomb to them. To honor the fact that Drax had saved him earlier, he gives them an hour to prepare before he drops his bomb. Left on their own, the Guardians are having a hard time deciding on what to do. But Groot gives them hope. With the seedling inside him, he uses the leftover seed energy from the box to create mini Groots. Quill points out that Groot is using the only thing that can revive his civilization. But the tree doesn't mind, as he says, "We are Groot." When the Guardians fly back to Earth, they see that Thanos has almost covered the entire city in purple roots. Rocket takes over the Milano and flies it around. This is to help Groot spread his seedlings. Quill, Drax, and Gamora act as decoys to distract Thanos. However, they still get caught. Just then, Ronan's Dark Aster flies above them. Their time is up. He will now use the quantum bomb to annihilate both Thanos and Earth. Gamora pleads with his sister. She knows that Nebula also hates their father and uses that knowledge to convince her to stop Ronan. It works. Nebula goes to her master and asks if it's really worth it to explode the planet. But Ronan is focused on his goal. He sees Nebula as useless and throws her across the room. She hits the control for the quantum bomb, which immediately deactivates it. Seeing no choice, Ronan gets the bomb's core and jumps off from his ship. He lands in front of Thanos. Wasting no time, he stomps his weapon on the ground, planting the bomb in it. It immediately paralyzes Thanos. The roots also stop from spreading and free the Guardians. Then the Kree goes back to his ship. Although he doesn't like it, Quill thinks only Thanos can prevent the bomb from exploding, if only he's not paralyzed. So he annoys the Titan to wake him up. Surprisingly, this works. Thanos throws the bomb onto the Dark Aster, just as it's about to explode. It creates a huge explosion in the sky. But their troubles are far from over. Thanos is still threatening to control the planet. Groot then calls all of his mini-versions to absorb all of the energy from the roots. The rest of the Guardians protect their friend as he buries his hands in the ground. Quill also attempts to retrieve the cosmic seed from the Titan, but Thanos just pulls him into the underground railway station. There, Quill tries for the second time to absorb the seed from the villain. Thanos taunts him about his origins. He's half Earthian and half Spartaxian, but never really belongs to either race. He's neither a hero nor an outlaw. Quill is nothing, according to Thanos. But of course, the Guardian will not allow this to affect him. For the third time, he absorbs the seed's energy. But this time, he's with Gamora, Drax, and Rocket, his family of Guardians. The four of them unite to help Quill retrieve the seed. With Groot's mini-versions attacking Thanos, Quill successfully absorbs all of the seed's energy into the box. This leaves the Titan in a weakened state. For good measure, he gets hit by an oncoming train and then gets absorbed by the roots he tried to spread. The people of New York City are chill in welcoming their heroes. They even ask for selfies from the Guardians of the Crutaking Galaxy. After this whole ordeal, they leave Earth for good. Groot intends to reabsorb his mini-versions later. But for now, it's time for a dance party. They've earned it.